Lieutenant Maya Restrepo adjusted her headset as another encrypted transmission crackled through the USS Constellation's communications bay. The massive aircraft carrier cut through Pacific swells while she monitored radio chatter that most sailors never heard. Her fingers moved across the console with practiced efficiency, but her mind was elsewhere, analyzing the unusual sonar signatures buried in the background static. Commander Bradford Kellick appeared in the doorway, his weathered face twisted in disapproval. "You seem awfully interested in submarine communications for a surface officer," he said, stepping closer to her workstation. Maya kept her expression neutral despite the accusation in his voice. "Just doing my job, sir. Monitoring all fleet communications as ordered." Kellick's eyes narrowed as he studied the frequency displays. "Your job is ship-to-ship coordination, not deep-water analysis. Perhaps you need a reminder of your actual duties." The threat hung in the air between them while Maya continued working, her training keeping her calm even as she recognized the dangerous territory this conversation was entering. Outside the steel bulkheads, the carrier's flight deck thundered with jet engines, but Maya barely noticed the familiar sounds. Her attention was locked on a faint acoustic signature that didn't match any known friendly submarine in the area. The emergency klaxon shattered the morning calm as Maya rushed to her station. Reports flooded in from across the Pacific Fleet about aggressive submarine movements near critical shipping lanes. She quickly isolated the acoustic patterns, her pulse quickening as she recognized the signature she'd detected earlier. Commander Kellick burst into the communications center with a security detail. "Lieutenant Restrepo, you're being relieved of duty immediately," he announced, his voice carrying across the busy room. "Pack your gear for immediate transfer to Shore Command." The other technicians stopped working, confusion written on their faces as Maya slowly removed her headset. "Sir, with respect, we're in the middle of a tactical situation that requires," Maya began, but Kellick cut her off with a sharp gesture. "Your unauthorized monitoring of submarine frequencies has been noted in your file. This transfer is effective immediately." The security personnel stepped forward, making it clear this wasn't a discussion. As Maya gathered her personal items, she caught fragments of panic communications from the fleet's submarine force. Multiple contacts moving in coordinated patterns, sophisticated jamming attempts, and most disturbing of all, a distress signal from deep water that was being ignored because nobody could properly interpret the coded transmission. The helicopter that would take her away was already spinning up on deck. Maya stared at the blank walls of her temporary quarters at Naval Station Pearl Harbor, the taste of injustice bitter in her mouth. 3 hours ago, she'd been monitoring critical fleet communications. Now she was processing paperwork for a desk assignment that would waste her specialized training. 200 miles away, the nuclear submarine USS Virginia received flash orders to dive deep and investigate the mysterious contacts. Captain Jonas Thorne studied the sonar readings in his cramped control room, his experienced eye recognizing patterns that troubled him. Chief Petty Officer Dmitry Volkov leaned over the plotting table, shaking his head at the acoustic signatures. "These aren't normal patrol patterns, sir," Volkov muttered, tracing the enemy movements with his finger. "They're herding our surface ships toward something." Thorne nodded grimly, knowing his conventional submarine warfare training wasn't sufficient for this level of tactical complexity. The Virginia's sonar operator called out new contacts, his voice tight with concern. "Captain, I'm reading multiple submarines in coordinated formation, depth charges being deployed in a pattern I've never seen before. They're not trying to sink our ships, they're trying to trap them." Thorne realized he needed expertise his crew didn't possess, someone who understood deep water tactical operations at a level beyond standard training. He reached for his classified personnel directory. Captain Thorne's fingers moved across his tablet, scrolling through classified personnel files that few submarine commanders ever accessed. When Maya Restrepo's record appeared, his breath caught in his throat. The official listing showed communications officer, but the classified addendum revealed something entirely different. Deep Sea Tactical Operations Specialist, Level 5 clearance, the hidden file read. advanced training in submarine warfare psychology, acoustic signature analysis, and underwater demolitions. 3 successful classified missions in hostile waters. Current assignment, classified cover operations aboard USS Constellation. Thorne called his communications officer immediately. "Get me a secure line to Pearl Harbor Personnel Command," he ordered. "I need an emergency transfer authorization." His crew watched with curiosity as their captain made calls that clearly went far above normal submarine protocols. Meanwhile, the enemy submarine formation had moved closer to the surface fleet, their coordinated movements suggesting a level of tactical sophistication that standard defensive measures couldn't counter. The Virginia sonar readings showed the hostile vessels using advanced sound masking techniques, making traditional tracking nearly impossible. Volkov studied the latest intelligence reports, his weathered face creased with concern. "Sir, if these patterns continue, our surface ships will be completely surrounded within 6 hours. We need someone who understands this kind of underwater chess game." The situation deteriorated rapidly as enemy submarines tightened their coordinated assault. 3 destroyers reported sonar contact with multiple hostile vessels moving in perfect synchronization, a tactical maneuver that suggested months of planning and rehearsal. Admiral Helena Cross watched the tactical display from the Fleet Command Center, her jaw clenched as conventional countermeasures failed one after another. The enemy was using acoustic deception techniques that rendered standard submarine detection nearly useless, creating blind spots where entire attack formations could hide. Aboard the Virginia, Chief Volkov monitored communications as distress signals increased across the fleet. "Sir, the USS Hartford is reporting they're being shadowed by at least 4 submarines maintaining perfect acoustic discipline," he told Thorne. "Our sonar operators can't maintain consistent locks on any of the targets." The enemy had clearly studied American submarine detection capabilities and developed specific countermeasures that exploited every weakness in traditional naval warfare doctrine. Thorne realized his crew was facing opponents who understood underwater combat at a level that demanded equally sophisticated defensive responses. Emergency protocols activated across the Pacific Fleet as more submarines joined the coordinated attack pattern. The Virginia received orders to maintain deep patrol depth and engage using standard tactics, but Thorne knew those methods would be insufficient against such advanced underwater warfare techniques. Captain Thorne made the decision that would define his career. Against direct orders to maintain radio silence and continue patrol, he commanded the Virginia to surface near Pearl Harbor. The crew exchanged worried glances as their submarine breached in restricted waters without authorization. His communications officer received immediate challenges from Harbor Control demanding identification and mission status. Thorne ignored the radio calls, knowing that explaining his actions would waste precious time while American ships faced destruction in deeper waters. Maya was reviewing transfer paperwork when the emergency call came through her temporary quarters. "Report to Pier 7 immediately for classified transport," the voice commanded. She grabbed her gear without hesitation, recognizing the urgency despite having no idea what awaited her. The Virginia's sleek hull gleamed in the Hawaiian sunshine as Maya approached the dock, her mind racing with questions. Captain Thorne met her at the gangway, his weathered face grim with determination. "Lieutenant, I need your real expertise, not your cover assignment," he said quietly. Maya felt her pulse quicken as she realized someone had accessed her classified records. The submarine's crew watched with curiosity as she boarded, wondering why their captain had risked court-martial to retrieve a communications officer from shore duty. The Virginia dove deep as Maya entered the control room, her eyes immediately scanning the sonar displays with an intensity that surprised the crew. Within seconds, she was analyzing acoustic signatures that had baffled the submarine's experienced operators for hours. Chief Volkov watched skeptically as the supposed communications officer moved toward the sonar station. "Ma'am, with respect, this equipment requires specialized training," he began, but Maya was already adjusting frequency filters with practiced precision. "Captain, your sonar team is tracking ghost signatures," she said, her fingers dancing across controls that most surface officers never touched. The enemy is using acoustic layering to create false contacts while their real submarines move through temperature gradients at these specific depths. The control room fell silent as Maya demonstrated knowledge that went far beyond standard naval communications training. She identified enemy submarine positions that conventional sonar had missed entirely, pointing out tactical patterns that revealed the sophisticated nature of the coordinated assault. Volkov's expression shifted from skepticism to amazement as Maya continued her analysis. "She's reading these patterns like sheet music," he whispered to another crew member. The submarine's junior officers gathered around the sonar station, watching Maya reveal underwater battlefield dynamics they'd never imagined possible. Maya took operational control of the rescue mission with Captain Thorne's full authorization, her specialized knowledge transforming the Virginia's approach to underwater warfare. She identified thermal layers where enemy submarines were hiding, using acoustic blind spots that conventional tactics ignored completely. The crew watched in fascination as Maya directed course changes that kept the Virginia invisible to enemy sonar while positioning them to assist the trapped surface fleet. Her understanding of submarine psychology allowed her to predict enemy movements with startling accuracy. "Lieutenant, enemy contact bearing 270 is preparing to launch," the sonar operator reported. Maya studied the acoustic signature for barely 10 seconds before responding. "Negative. That submarine is transmitting false torpedo preparation sounds to mask the real launch from bearing 095. Her prediction proved correct when torpedoes appeared from the exact position she'd identified. Volkov shook his head in amazement as Maya continued demonstrating expertise that seemed almost supernatural to the conventional submarine crew. She guided the Virginia through underwater terrain using tactical knowledge that transformed their defensive capabilities. Enemy submarines that had maintained perfect concealment suddenly found themselves exposed as Maya exploited weaknesses in their sophisticated hiding techniques, turning the underwater battlefield in favor of American forces. The underwater combat sequence began with Maya identifying the enemy flagship submarine that coordinated the entire assault formation. She recognized unique acoustic signatures from classified intelligence that revealed the vessel's specific vulnerabilities. "Fire control solution ready," the weapons officer announced, but Maya held up her hand. "Wait," she commanded, studying sonar readings that showed enemy submarines repositioning around their command vessel. "They're using their flagship as bait to draw us into a crossfire pattern." Instead of engaging directly, Maya guided the Virginia through a complex underwater approach that exploited thermal currents and geological features. Her knowledge of enemy submarine construction revealed weak points in their acoustic shielding that conventional weapons targeting couldn't detect. The Virginia launched torpedoes using Maya's specialized targeting data, striking enemy submarines in precisely calculated positions that disabled their coordination capabilities without alerting the remaining vessels to the attack method being used against them. Enemy submarines began losing tactical cohesion as their communication network collapsed under Maya's systematic dismantling of their coordinated assault structure. Volkov watched in amazement as hostile contacts scattered in confusion, their sophisticated battle plan crumbling under the precision of Maya's counterattack strategy that turned their own advanced tactics against them. The mission reached its triumphant conclusion as the last enemy submarine fled the engagement zone, their coordinated assault completely shattered by Maya's tactical expertise. The Virginia surfaced to communications from the grateful Pacific Fleet, praising the submarine crew for their extraordinary success against impossible odds. Captain Thorne transmitted his after-action report directly to Admiral Cross, detailing Maya's crucial role in dismantling the enemy formation. Fleet Command realized immediately that the woman Commander Kellick had dismissed as merely a communications officer possessed classified capabilities that had saved dozens of ships and thousands of lives. Maya stood in the Virginia's control room, surrounded by crew members who now understood why their captain had risked court-martial to retrieve her. Chief Volkov approached with obvious respect, extending his hand in recognition of her exceptional service under pressure. The submarine's sonar operator, who had initially questioned her authority, now spoke with genuine admiration. "Ma'am, I've served on submarines for 15 years, and I've never seen tactical analysis like yours. You turned their own sophistication against them." As the Virginia prepared to return to port, radio communications revealed that Admiral Cross was personally reviewing the circumstances of Maya's controversial removal from the USS Constellation, with serious questions being raised about Commander Kellika's decision-making during the crisis. Admiral Cross convened an immediate inquiry aboard the USS Constellation, where Commander Kellika faced scrutiny for removing a classified specialist during a tactical crisis. The evidence was overwhelming as communications logs revealed Maya's attempts to warn about submarine threats that Kellika had dismissed. Captain Thorne testified via secure video link, detailing how Maya's expertise had saved the entire Pacific Fleet from a coordinated assault that conventional tactics couldn't counter. The submarine crew submitted formal statements praising her tactical knowledge and professional conduct under extreme pressure. Kellika stood before the inquiry panel, his earlier arrogance replaced by uncomfortable silence as witness after witness contradicted his claims about Maya's supposed incompetence. The communications officers who had worked alongside Maya testified about her exceptional abilities and dedication to duty. Admiral Cross reviewed Maya's classified service record, her expression growing more severe as she realized the magnitude of Kellika's error. "Commander, you removed a Level 5 deep-sea tactical specialist based on personal prejudice rather than operational necessity," she stated coldly. The inquiry concluded with Kellika's immediate relief from duty and formal reprimand, while orders were issued for Maya's reinstatement with full recognition of her specialized capabilities. The USS Constellation's crew learned that the quiet communications officer they had known possessed some of the Navy's most advanced underwater warfare expertise. Maya returned to active duty with her classified specialty officially recognized, assigned to a joint surface submarine tactical unit that would prevent future coordination failures. The USS Constellation's crew welcomed her back with newfound respect, understanding that they had unknowingly served alongside one of the Navy's most elite specialists. Captain Thorne received commendation for his decisive leadership during the crisis, while the Virginia's crew became advocates for integrated tactical operations between surface and submarine forces. Chief Volkov personally requested Maya's consultation on advanced sonar training programs. Admiral Cross implemented new protocols, ensuring that classified specialists would never again be removed from critical positions without proper security clearance review. The Pacific Fleet's defensive capabilities were permanently enhanced by the tactical innovations Maya had demonstrated during the underwater crisis. Maya stood on the Constellation's bridge, watching the horizon where submarines and surface ships now trained together using the coordinated tactics she had pioneered. The quiet communications officer who had been dismissed and underestimated had transformed naval warfare doctrine through her exceptional courage under pressure. If you've ever known someone in the Navy who showed incredible courage when it mattered most, or if this story of hidden military expertise resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments about what moment stood out to you.